Should all our Goombas be forgot and never brought to mind? Well, now it's New Year, Davy Jones, and I'm singing Old Lang Syne.
Hello, peoples off the tube. We're at that time of year again. Another year has been and gone. It's the end of 2020, and as such, as is now customary for me, I'm making my end of year in review video. Let's be honest, 2020 is a year that I think we'd probably all rather forget. I don't think anyone's going to be that sad to put 2020 behind us, but you know, we might as well stop and have a little think about the year that's been. And joyless a topic though it is, this year's been pretty much dominated by the coronavirus pandemic, so it would be remiss of me not to at least mention that somewhere in the video. That's been pretty much the whole year. That's 2020 in a nutshell, is pandemic. We've been in, more or less in lockdown. Normal life has been on hold since, the end of March? That's 3/4 of the year. It's been a time. A lot of people have had it worse than me. There's been obviously people have died. It's been awful. It's been bad. Do you remember in 2016? We were all like, "What an awful year! This is the worst year ever." Like, I know 2016 wasn't very good. Like, a lot of bad things happened, but 2016 compared to this was like the best year ever. This has just been on a whole other level. So pandemic, it's the defining characteristic of the year. It's also the worst part of the year by a long shot. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're staying healthy. Here's hoping that somewhere in next year we'll get that all dealt with. I'm slightly pessimistic, I guess, is the word I'm looking for here. Because obviously we've got vaccines being delivered now, and there seems to be a lot of people saying, "Nah, I'm not going to bother getting the vaccine," and it's never going to go away. Fine. Well, not fine, but anyway, moving on. So usually I take a portion of this video to talk about the year in film, and try and remember all the films I've seen this year and forget most of them. Well, this year, I'm not going to forget how many films. I usually go to the cinema so much. I'm barely out of the cinema for more than like a week and a half. I'm in there so much seeing films. And this year, I think, is the least I've been to a cinema since the first time I went to a cinema at all. Like, after I started going to the cinema, I was always going more often than I've been this year. Because obviously the cinemas have been closed for most of the year. I did actually still go to the cinema 6 times this year, which is quite impressive given that the cinema was closed for most of the year. I was at the cinema 4 times before all the lockdown stuff happened, and the cinema did reopen very briefly here, and I managed to go twice in December. But 4 of those 6 times were for I'm in a film club. I might have mentioned this last year. I started going to the Inverness Film Fans. It's a film club. We watch old films generally, or films on a theme. They're not new release things. So at the start of this year, we had 2 films as part of our South Korean season. I saw Pieta and Old Boy. Old Boy's quite a well-known film. And then much later in December, we met up again, and we had the Federico Fellini season that was going to be in the spring but got cancelled. We had the rest of that. I saw Otto y Mezzo, and I don't remember the Italian name, but it's Juliet of the Spirits, and they were nice. Those were good films. I enjoyed all of those. The Italian films, the style of them took me a while to get used to. Really, most of the first one was a really good. I think the first one was possibly the better film, but I enjoyed the second one more because I'd gotten into the general gist of how things were done in the films. I got used to the style by then. And similarly with the Korean films, I'm not really very used to watching subtitled movies. I tend not very often to watch them. I've watched more in the last couple of years than I have ever before. But it didn't take me that long to get into watching the subtitles on the first of the two Korean, but the second one was a much more engaging film. The first one was very harrowing. The second one was quite brutal, but more sort of, I'm not sure what the word is. This hand, it was more like this hand movement. It was less raw. I think that's what I'm trying to say. It was slightly more filmy and stylized, and I think I enjoyed that one more. I did argue that some people said, you know, I wish I hadn't seen that film to the Pieta, the first one, because there's nothing. It was a joyless experience. But I kind of feel like no one would say that they'd enjoyed a film like that, but you do take an emotional reaction to it, and I think that is still a positive thing, even if it's a negative emotional reaction to unpleasant things happening. If that is the reaction that is intended by the filmmaker, I feel like that's still overall a positive experience. Anyway, that was my 4 films with the film club. So I only saw 2 new films this year at the cinema. One of them was like a day before all the cinemas closed, and that was The Military Wives, which is about the army wife choir. That was fine. The other one, and this is the most bizarre thing that I thought would never happen, right? It was called Uncut Gems. It was a Netflix movie that had a limited theatrical release. And it was an Adam Sandler movie. I say that. Adam Sandler played the main character in it. And I was told, oh yeah, this film is Adam Sandler. I was like, okay, well that's going to be bad. It was, not only was it was really good, Adam Sandler was really good in it. And if he's able to play a compelling character in a good movie, then why are all his films the way that they are? Why doesn't he just do that? Like, be in a good movie all the time? Why? It bamboozles me, because now the best new film I saw of the year was an Adam Sandler movie. How did that happen? How? I mean, obviously I've only seen 2 films, but that's not something I ever thought would happen. At the end of the year, I'd sit down and say, well, the best new film I saw this year was Adam Sandler. But there you go. That's never going to happen again. But there you go. For me, personally, I mean, we'll talk about maybe YouTube-wise first of all, because obviously I'm usually quite busy making videos. For a while I was making them once a week, every week throughout 2016 and 2017. And then I kind of stopped and they were just sporadic, but I tried to average, you know, at least a couple a month. This year, we had this video last year, and then nothing until the end of February. I made a video which got everyone watched. It was about my DVD collection, so I guess I need to complete my Doctor Who DVD collection more often, because that's my most viewed video in ages. Then I was doing a video about every couple of weeks, and then my computer died. It died a very slow death, but it got so that it couldn't do any complicated tasks without overheating, and when it overheated it shut right off, and I'd restart it again. And if a video was rendering and the computer shut off, then the render process was lost and we had to start over again. And rendering a video would always make it switch off. That was always too much, it would overheat, it would switch off. So I couldn't render a video. My birthday video, what I ended up doing was, when I thought it was starting to get a bit too hot, I'd close the lid of the computer and it would go on standby for a little while. And once I thought it was probably cool enough, I'd open the lid and it was able to resume rendering. But that took like 2 hours to render a 20-minute video. It was ridiculous. So obviously that's not a sustainable way to make a video. I made another video like 3 months later explaining that that's why I wasn't making videos. And then almost immediately I wanted to make a video about my new Daleks. I only made 2 videos that involved editing and rendering during that time because it was just too much hassle. So the first 10 months of the year, I made 8 videos, which is pretty low. Then I got a new computer. It turns out that Movie Maker, which I used to use for all my video editing since forever, I'd never moved away from Movie Maker. I couldn't get a new version of it for my computer. I couldn't re-download a version that was compatible with Windows 10. And so I finally caved in and got a new editing software, which is working great. And it's able to accept files from this camera, Goomba's old camera that he left me in his will. So I'm in high definition now. Isn't that, you can see all of my horrible face, all the details. It's lovely. And because of that, I've made a video pretty much on the weekly plus a few additional ones for the last 2 months. It's been great. I'm back to weekly videos on the Thursday. Here's the weird thing though. When I started doing the weekly videos on a Thursday, it was because I'd made my New Year's Eve video and I was like, okay, well, I'm going to try and do weekly videos. I made a video on the Thursday, I'll make a video next Thursday. And that's why it was Thursday, because New Year's Eve was a Thursday, so I just did it Thursday, ever after that. And I decided, well, you know what? Thursday seems like the day to put videos. I'm not going to commit myself to doing weekly videos, but I'm going to, if possible, make a video. I'm just going to make videos that come into my head. If I want to do a video, I'll make a video. And I'll just put them out on Thursdays. If I've got a video, it'll go out on Thursday. And I have done a video every week, every Thursday, since the start of November. I did one on Halloween, and then every Thursday after that, including today, which is New Year's Eve. And that really bamboozled me, because well, hold on. New Year's Eve's a Thursday, but it was a Thursday when I started doing the Thursday videos. That's not 7 years ago, but of course, I was forgetting that we've had 2 leap years in the last 5 years. So it's been... we've cycled through all the days. We're back to New Year's Eve being on a Thursday. I can just have this be my weekly video. So that's nice. But yeah, 12 videos, from Halloween onwards, 12 videos. 8 videos before that. So 20 for the year, that's not too bad. So hopefully you're enjoying these. I have quite a few more planned for the near future. In life, generally, what have I been up to this year? Well, my drama group has been off since the spring. So we didn't have a show this year. It was the first year in quite a while I've not had a show. So that's a bit of a shame. At the start of the year, I was doing more things than ever before, because I was in the cinema group that I started last year. I a little sort of go for a hot drink at a cafe. I call it coffee group, but nah, I don't drink coffee. But yeah, we used to meet up and have a bit of a chat twice a month. I also started going to a gourmet group where we go out to various restaurants once a month. I went to that once before the lockdown started, and then the lockdown started. So all of that got stopped, but I did go to a college course, a very short, fleeting college course throughout November, and that was quite good fun. That was a sort of 3-week course, 6 classes, where I learned about cybersecurity. Will that have any bearing on anything after this? I don't know, but it was interesting. And though I don't tend to bring this up very often, because I feel like my journey isn't particularly interesting to anyone, transition-wise, things are going reasonably well. I think everyone that is going to ever be on board is now aware and has moved on. In that sense, things are good. Those who are vehemently not on board are just sort of becoming background noise now. So it's a shame that they're such close proximity background noise, but I mean, what can you do? But yeah, things have started. I'm now on my very slow journey. Wheels are turning. Things are in motion. So that, there's a sense of that. That's definitely a positive for this year. Obviously, this is also the year when transphobia seems to have really become fashionable, which is not great, to be honest. But I try not to think too much about that because it makes me feel sad. I feel like there's loads of other things I haven't brought up, entertainment-wise. We had, television was quite interesting. I mean, it had to be because we didn't have anything else this year. Doctor Who was quite good this year, unless it wasn't, in which case, fair enough. But I quite liked it. We've got an episode on tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that's going to be quite good. We had everyone watch. Do you remember Tiger King? That was this year. It doesn't feel like it, but yeah. Everyone was playing Among Us for a while, and then everyone got bored of that, I guess. But that was fun. But I feel like I'm just dragging things out. This year, incidentally, is the year that the most Doctor Who figures I've ever bought in a single year, including one that I bought on Christmas Eve that I don't have yet. It's still en route. I bought this year 69 Doctor Who figures. And maybe that's too many, but I feel like that's a nice number to get. So childish, so childish. Next year I'm going to get 420 Doctor Who figures. Okay, I've talked for long enough. This has been very disjointed, I should have planned this in advance, because it's super unstructured. I don't know how long I've been talking for, because there's not a timer on my screen that tells me, and I've cropped clock out of frame because that's just a nightmare. I'm also filming this on the 30th. This isn't even New Year's Eve because I think I'm going to be busier tomorrow than I am today. I've got nothing going on today. It's snowing outside. I don't know if it'll be snowing tomorrow. That's why we opened with footage of snow. But yeah, 2020's been horrible. It's been a bad year. No one liked it. Next year, let's try and have a better year. Yeah, let's just try, please. I'll be back next year. I've got a video planned for next week. I've got a few videos planned. I don't know which one it's going to be next week, but keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes right out of your head and on the floor. What am I talking about? Thank you for watching and have a nice year.
What's that playing on the radio? Why do I start swaying to and fro? I have never heard that song before, but if I don't hear it anymore, it's still familiar to me, sends a thrill right through me, cause those chords remind me of the night that I first fell in love too. Those magic changes, my heart arranges a melody that's never the same, a melody that's calling your name and I beg you please.
Gosh darn it, I really hope it is a nice year.
Traffic on the hour. Traffic on the hour. Traffic on the hour. Traffic on the hour.